Hi, I'm Joel, and this is All About Tools Live.
And I'm John, and what do you do? You said you were going to say you were
I'm
Ken.
sorry.
No, wait a minute. Here,
okay.
you got to go around
this
way. First of all,
one thing I forgot.
You know,
and two, I just can't do that.
You watch the show every week. We go around this way. Step around that way and do it again.
All right. And you want me to say I'm Ken?
You're Ken.
Okay, this is. I can't do
this
it.
way, right here.
I know, but I can't.
You know what? You can't.
I can't call myself Ken.
Well, I wouldn't want to call you
I don't. I just can't do it, John.
Some people can't be trained. I'm John, and this is Joel, and we're all about tools.
There you go.
And this is going to be a great segment. Ken is not on the segment tonight.
Yeah, no, he's not.
So actually, I'm a little bit lost because Ken.
Well, you're always lost.
You know, to Tool Time. Ken is to us as Al was to Tool Time.
Oh, I was thinking...
He's really the one that knows what's going on, and I'm the one that just screws around all the time.
I was thinking you'd say something about Mr. Rogers, but...
No, not Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
Definitely. Welcome to the show, everybody. Joel handles our shipping and receiving at the office. He has been a fabricator for 5 years.
Yes.
And he's here from Michigan, and because there was nothing to do in Michigan, so he moved
down
here. And Joel's been with us.
Right.
He helps us with tech support in the office.
Yep.
Ken is at a wedding. Actually, his son is getting married on Saturday in St. Louis, I think. And my daughter got married last week in Amelia Island. And I got to tell you, it was a great wedding. We had a lot of fun. But anybody who's ever given a daughter away knows how I'm feeling now. It's something that you just lose a part of you, even though she's still there. But my little girl is gone.
Plus, you're stuck with a huge bill.
Well, that's all right. The bill's not too bad. It was a great wedding. But anyway,
it wasn't.
Congratulations to L'Oreal and Mikey, and to I don't know what Mike's.
Oh, Gregory.
Yeah, but what is his wife's name?
Are you saying?
I don't know. Gregory. Anyway, okay.
I honestly don't know.
All right, we got some great things going on tonight. We're going to cover workstation brackets.
Yep.
Both fixed brackets and adjustable. These are new. We're going to talk about the EB25 edge bander. Actually, we're going to talk about edge banding, banders in general, things like that. And we have some specials on the show that we've never done before. The EB25 is brand new out of the crate. We're going to be selling the demo during the show.
Okay.
And the price will be $200 off the list price.
Oh, that's a
plus
great
free
deal.
freight. Yep, absolutely, because it's only going to be used for 5 minutes. And also, if you're interested in EB25 and you miss out on the demo unit, we are going to be offering any EB25 that's ordered within the first hour after the show for free freight, which most anywhere is a savings between $200 and $300. So
that's great.
If you've ever wanted an EB25, watch it tonight and buy one.
Yeah, somebody should take advantage of that.
Let's see. We had several calls to support on our last show, and we say thanks. I don't even remember what we covered on the last show. Do you?
Yeah.
What did we cover?
Merca.
Merca, that's right.
That's
abrasives.
Right.
Yes, yes. We started selling the Merca Aberlon Soft.
Yes.
Right, Abernet Soft. Yeah,
Abernet.
And that's going great.
Yep.
So that's good.
Yep.
All right, so anyway, I think it's time we get started.
What are these, John? I mean, what do you use them for?
Well, you know, we used to call them gussets.
Yeah.
And when I lived up in New York, and what they do is they support a countertop. They're mounted to the wall here, and your countertop sits on top. And we used to make these out of laminate, plastic laminate. But anybody that does laminate work knows that it just takes hours to do gussets.
Okay,
it seems like something simple, but it takes a lot of time to laminate them.
This would work on like a bar top or an island top or something of that nature.
Exactly. Or the smaller ones would work on a shelf. You know, I mean, is something as simple as in your garage. These are made of 1/8-inch steel.
Okay.
Very unusual. When I saw these things, my first thought was, my God, you could park a car on this thing after they're installed.
Oh, yeah.
They're really nice. They have a crinkle finish on them. They have multiple holes back and forth across the top and the back of the bracket. They can be used either this way or this way. And they have left and right hands, so you can finish them.
You could do all kinds of things on a countertop with these.
That's right, you could.
Okay.
They have a crinkle finish on them, which is really nice. They're very tough, very durable.
Yep.
Great bracket. We've been selling them for a long time. They're available in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sizes.
Wow.
And 3 colors, I believe.
So this is your smallest. and it goes all the way up to that big one right
That's
there.
right. This would be more my size. That
Yeah.
would be more for Ken.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Ken.
Well, I don't know you well enough.
Well, I hope you
Ken and
don't.
I have been friends a long time.
Yeah, but I hope you don't know Ken that well either. And I know you don't.
All right. Well, anyway, so this is a fixed bracket, and when I say fixed, what I mean by that is that when this is installed, it's at a right angle.
Yep.
So there's no adjustment to it. You don't do anything with it. You just
Okay.
put it up.
Okay.
Great bracket, very heavy duty,
Now-
1,000-pound capacity.
I can remember having to make these out of solid surface.
You made them out of solid surface as well?
Well, what we did is we took wood on a 45, and we screwed that in there, and then we wrapped it around with solid surface. But boy, I tell you, the amount of work we had into that.
Yeah, it would be a lot of work.
I really wish we would have had something like this, John.
Well, you know, with laminate, what you did was you made an angled bracket and then
Yeah.
a top and bottom board, so you had all that edging to do. And
Oh,
if you didn't
man.
have an edge bander, it was a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
The newest bracket on the market is this one. This is an adjustable bracket, and I think it's called, you know, I don't even know what it's called. I apologize.
It's a workstation bracket,
It's from
right?
Precision Works. Actually, our cameraman has the literature on.
He's got it figured out.
Okay, so anyway, what this does, these come packaged like this, okay? Screws are loose, like mine are, okay? It comes packaged like this, and the idea is that you mount either this one or this one first, and then this piece actually slides onto here.
Yep.
You put your 4 bolts in, and you end up with a piece that looks like this.
Okay, now I can see a big advantage to this, John. This is all you have to do. This is all you have to do for screwing is this little piece here. You don't have the great big piece.
Right, you're not handling it, yes.
Okay, but you do have, you have additional steps for putting the 2 pieces together, but
Absolutely. I
you
mean,
got
each
some
one,
versatility to it.
Right.
And they
each
both,
one has its pros and cons.
Yeah, they sure do.
But I think what we'll do is let's go ahead and install both of these brackets.
Okay. All right.
And we'll see how they work. So
That
let's
sounds
come
good.
around front.
Oh, I see you got yourself a little wall built right here.
We
huh?
have a wall. Yep. This is a
Okay.
2x2 wall because the 2x4 wouldn't fit in the clamp here. All right. So we're
There's
going to
the
clamp
clamp.
this in place. And actually what you have here is this would be a standard stud wall. And it would obviously have drywall over it. You wouldn't be screwing them on bare stud normally, unless you're in
Right.
a garage maybe.
Yep.
And this is a wall cleat.
Yep.
And if your wall extended on up above this, the cleat would be attached to the wall,
Okay.
and then your countertop would set on the wall.
Yep.
And that serves a couple of purposes. It's an anchor point, but it acts to stop the countertop from sagging in between the brackets.
Okay,
Okay.
that's great.
So let's first go ahead and take one of these brackets. Actually,
Can you grab a drill
I've
here,
got-
John?
yep.
Okay.
I've got this one set up.
All right.
And what we're using on this bracket to make it easy to install is we're using the Bessie ratchet clamps, and they
Oh,
lock
okay.
in place.
Okay.
So what I've done here is just taken a board, 3/4 inch scrap, and attached it to the top using the clamps.
Very simple.
Now this is a, let's see, this is a right-hand bracket, I believe, as you're looking at it. So what this does is it allows me to hang this over the cleat.
Well, that's a great
All
idea.
right.
Then you line it. You got it all lined up, flush on the top.
Right.
And we
So
just
if you
set
want to
that
go
on.
ahead and just sock a couple of screws in there.
Okay. We start right in the middle here.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. There's
Okay.
one.
All right.
Uh-oh. Now, I'm not so good at screwing, John.
Oh, well, hey, that's...
Oh, I didn't mean it like that.
I don't want to know
Hey.
your personal life. I'm sorry.
All
That's
right.
too much to know. Okay.
One up here.
Yep.
There we go.
All right. Now, as you can see, these are staggered, but yet they're not real wide. So if you're center of the stud,
Yep.
you're going to be able to get both of these in. If you're not center of the stud, you should be able to get one complete row in on either side,
One
center
or
of the
the other.
stud.
Okay.
Because a lot of
Okay.
times when you're off a little bit, you'll go to put the screw in and it's going to blow right out the side.
Yep.
Well, automatically you're going to know that this screw is going to be pretty close to center.
There you
so
go.
you should have good
So
holding power
fortunately,
with
you don't
that.
have to, keep moving it over and over and
Exactly.
blowing screws through people's walls. Okay.
And I imagine, but I'm not sure, but I think the load capacity rating would be with 4 screws in
4
the bracket.
screws. Okay.
I don't think 8. So anyway, at this point, you would just take this off, pop those off, your brackets off, and you're all set
Well,
to go
that's
here.
pretty simple. Even a dummy like me can do it.
That's right. Yeah.
Calling me a dummy?
Only if you are.
That's all right. That's all right.
So your countertop is now just going to sit on top
okay.
and on your bracket, and then you're going to screw into your countertop from here.
Very good.
So that's a real good bracket. Now let's just take a minute and pop this off,
Okay.
and then we'll show the adjustable bracket next. How are we doing for time? Looks like we're pretty good.
Lots of time. All the time in the world.
Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and just set this one to the back here.
All right.
Now we'll go ahead and take this one. Now, remember, we're only using one piece of this bracket at a time. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention here. With this bracket up in place, like this, or however we had it, like this, you do have a wire chase built right in.
Oh, okay. So
Which is really important for running cords and what have
absolutely.
you underneath.
A lot of times the guys have the outlets on the other side, or they have to run those wires through like
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
really
a
neat.
good feature on that one. All right, now with this one, what you're doing is we're working with an 1.5-inch cleat,
Okay.
same 2x4 construction on the wall,
Yep.
and we've got our bracket.
All right.
This bracket is designed a little bit differently. It has the 4 holes in it, but the center one allows for vertical adjustments.
Well, what's that for, John? Why is that slotted like that?
Well, sometimes when you put a bracket in and you put the screw in, it moves a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't always go exactly
Yep.
where you want it to go. So what this does is it allows you to slide it up or down a little bit.
Okay.
So that works well.
That's great.
And then this bracket, or this hole, is elongated horizontally.
Oh, so you can slide
So
it.
you can move it side
Very
to
good.
side.
So you can put a level up against it and
A what?
a level.
A level?
You
What do
can
you use a
plumb
level
it
for?
out.
Plumb it out.
Well, you can get it so it goes up and down.
Up and down straight. Oh, okay.
You get what I'm
All right.
saying?
Okay, so it's straight.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, so
You
let's
got
do
it?
this a second. Why don't you go ahead and
It's got to be
put
straight. When you're
one screw in it.
Got to be straight when you're
No,
screwing.
no, center one.
Okay.
Can you stand to the side so the
I
folks can
can.
see what we're doing?
You see that? You probably don't want to
Can
see
you,
my
can, you,
back.
can you screw sideways? There you go. Look at that.
Can I screw
Okay.
sideways?
All right, now. Okay, so now we're tight up against the bracket, and we can move this so it's vertical. Now, if we had a level here, which we don't.
Can I screw sideways? Oh
Hey,
boy.
just a question.
All right.
Now, wait a minute, wait. Just hold on a second. Now, what you do is you put the top one in next.
Top's next.
Right, because if it slides off one way or the other, we
Yep.
can still go back and forth.
All
with it.
right.
So go ahead and put that one in.
Okay. Let me make sure my viewers can see here.
Now we're having Joel do this because now all of you can realize that anybody can put these brackets in. Just anybody at all. It won't fit?
It fits. There it goes. It's right there.
Actually, you need a longer bit in there, don't you?
Yeah, I
okay.
think I do.
And then go ahead and get one in the bottom.
I have a shortage problem. Not to be connected with. Never mind. All right.
Okay, so now what you do with this one, I have to get my glasses on for this because I can't see it. Did you notice I have my Max Headroom t-shirt on? Look at
Max
this.
Headroom.
Max Head. Do you remember this? Do you remember Max Headroom?
That's before my
This
time.
is yeah.
buddy.
This is way before your
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
I should take this off and show the folks at home, but I won't. But anyway, Max Headroom was a great.
We have to call WATE and see what kind of percentage they're going to give us.
Oh, that's right. Is it? Oh, it says that on the back, doesn't it? Yes. Okay, so now we're going to here. Go ahead and here, take one of those screws.
Sure.
And what you would do on a normal job, you would just go ahead and put all of those in,
Okay.
and then you're going to just snug up this screw here, and then here's another one for the bottom. Okay, now, I don't think if you can get this real well, but you can see that this will go up and down quite a bit. So what you would do now is take a level,
Okay.
and you would level this, and then you would just tighten these bolts down, all 4 bolts, and then put your countertop in place.
Okay.
And
So
what's
that's,
nice,
That's for those builders that build their subwalls while they're drunk and.
well, you know, a lot of
I mean,
times,
some walls
yeah, a lot
aren't-
of,
they're not straight.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you have a bracket that's not adjustable, you can shim them out on the bottom, which I've done before, and
Yep.
they look fine.
Yep.
But this is totally adjustable.
Well, that's
And
great.
you'll notice that this also has a hole in the side. You see better with this one. And this is a wire management grommet that's built right
Okay.
into it.
Okay.
This works with an 1.5 by 1.5 cleat or a 3/4 by 1.5 cleat.
Okay. Very good.
And these are available in 1, 2, 3, 5 sizes.
And some other colors.
Right.
I see there's
They're
gray.
only available in black and white.
Oh, black and white.
And they have a
Okay.
smooth finish on them,
Okay.
whereas the other brackets have a crinkle finish on them.
I see.
And they can be mounted short end on the wall or long end on the wall, depending on how you want to use them.
Okay.
So really, out of the 4 brackets, you can use them 2 different ways, so you can actually get 10 different
Now,
mentions out of it.
now, one thing I'm noticing too, John, on both these brackets here, you've got the ability to screw from below.
Yes.
Now that's a big plus because I can remember doing solid surface tops,
Right.
and we had gussets that mounted in such a way you'd mount it to the wall, but there was no way to mount it from below.
Oh, okay.
So your
Well,
situation
these are all
was,
pre-drilled on all
yeah,
of them.
so you could actually glue the wood on the underside of a countertop, and then put this in place, and then screw it from below, and not have to worry about that
Right.
that wood being separate. Well, that's a big advantage.
But in solid surface, you're not going to put a screw in it anyway, are you?
Well, no.
Into the build-up underneath.
Into the wood
But any-
buildup, right?
Into the wood build, exactly. Okay, so there you've got it. We've got 2 different brackets. They're available in all different sizes for workstations, countertops, shelves,
Ken's.
Ken's, and mine.
Ken's not here. I can
Ken's
do
not
that.
here. You can do that. That's right, exactly. We can rag on him. So anyway, that's it for brackets. I think we're, let's see, we have a question. If you mount the short side and use the long side, does it change the load capacity? Actually, it increases it. The load capacity on this one is 640 pounds, and that's with the short side bolted to the wall.
640 pounds.
640 pounds of
Wow,
load.
that's
Now,
a lot of weight, John.
Now, this, it all depends on how strong the wall is.
Okay, that's
obviously.
true, that's
If you put it on a knee wall or something like that, you're not going to have that load capacity. But obviously, it's more than enough to put a solid surface top on, a Formica countertop. You can put particle board shelves on it for your garage. It's just, it's a great way to hang whatever you want to hang.
Hang whatever you
All
want to
right,
hang.
I think we're ready to go to a commercial, and we will be back. And after the break, we're going to be talking about edge banding.
Edge banding, great.
All right, so we
Very
will be
good.
back shortly. Thanks for being with us.
All right.
This is an exciting new product. We're really excited about it, obviously. These are radius molds for forming solid surface. And what we can do is, Ken is Ken is going to stick that in the mold here real quick. We're using a Festool router, slow speed, and we're going to just form this. Okay, and that forms it into a perfect 1.5 inch inside radius, 2 inch outside radius. The reason that we designed them this way is because if you're using the perfect seam setup, you'll be able to route your inside corner with the perfect seam edges, and it's a perfect fit.
Yep.
What we've got is we've got a specially designed base for the router. This is a surface leveler, and it'll be adjusted to take off this material. Now, it doesn't have to be flush because all we're actually doing is cutting it off flat with the surface so it's ready to glue up underneath. And this is a carbide tipped up-down spiral.
Correct.
Which
It's a
nobody
compression
makes.
spiral.
I mean, this is unique in that it is carbide tipped and it's not a solid carbide. So it's a lot less expensive than a solid carbide router bit. So this is unique. It's got a bottom bearing bit. Now, we've set it so that it's actually riding on the bottom edge of this little fixture that we've built. And what you're going to have, and I don't have my vacuum hooked up, but I'm just going to go ahead and route. Okay, so now what that's done is it's cut it off perpendicular, so you end up with a piece that is perfect every time. And what's nice about this is these are always the same size. So when you're calculating the top, you can pre-manufacture all these and you know what length your pieces are in between. So that's pretty cool. And then to take it out of the mold, you just back it up, just like that. Take it out of the mold. And as you can see, we've got, the mold is actually several pieces. There's a base that you get, and then these are double stacked molds. Now, let's say we had to do a 4-inch drop edge. What you could actually do is buy extras of this particular mold, stack them on top. These are all screwed together, so you could stack them up, screw them back together, and you could actually have them 4 inches high.
By just merely adding to this and building it up to whatever thickness it needs to be, and these are available in half-inch increments after the initial 1-inch buy.
Right, yeah, the starter kit would include this base that you route against, and then 2 mold thicknesses. The reason we did it in half-inch increments is it's a lot less expensive to manufacture 2 half-inch molds than 1 1-inch mold, just because of the cutters involved in cutting 1-inch material and what have you. So we decided to go this way with it, and when you buy it, you would get, the starter kit would be this clamp, which we're having made for us, which is really cool. The molds, male and female mold, and the starter kit is, I believe, a 1 inch and an inch and a half, because that's pretty much the standard. It takes a lot of the work out of something that is a very tedious project.
It is.
And you won't have to buy a big oven to do this. A lot of guys don't want to do forming. They don't want to spend the money for a big oven, so they'll be able to buy this little cube oven, which is really cool.
$6.99, I believe?
I think it's going to be $6.99. And maybe we'll put a package together on the oven and a starter kit. We'll take a look at doing something like that. But
So you could get into a drop edge application very inexpensively, and the great thing about it, and this is really what you have to look at, is the speed in which this can be done.
We're out.
okay, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that segment.
Yes.
Now we're going to talk about something a little bit more boring, but it needs to be talked about.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds like a Viagra commercial. I
It
don't
does,
know.
yeah.
We're going to talk about edge banding.
Yes.
But you know what? At least we're not talking about sanding.
That's true.
I am so tired of talking about sanding. It's nice to talk about something else. So anyway, when you're talking edge banding or an automatic edge bander, you're talking about material that is applied either by hand or by machine to the edge of a piece of wood.
Got it.
Melamine, plywood. You wouldn't do it to hardwood because you wouldn't need an edge band on it.
No hardwood, huh?
No hardwood. No,
Okay.
no hardwood on tonight's show. All composite board.
Okay,
Sorry.
Very good.
You seem to be obsessed with wood.
No, I'm not obsessed with wood, trust me.
All right. Edge banding, in general, comes in different shapes and sizes. Okay. It's available to cover boards from 1/2 inch to 2.5 inches normally, unless it's special order, and it's available in PVC,
2.5 inches thick?
2.5 inches wide,
Wow.
1 mil thick. It's available in a real wood veneer,
I see.
which is actually finger jointed in a length, but you don't even notice that they do it so well.
What do you mean by finger joining?
Well, you know, it's when the boards are cut like that,
Oh, I see.
and then they're spliced together, because
Okay.
obviously you're not going to have a tree that's this long.
That's true.
You know, it has to be done in pieces.
I see.
This is PVC,
Okay.
and I believe that stands for polyvinyl chloride, but Ken would know for sure.
Yes, he
That's
would.
why I miss Ken.
Or
I
Danny.
really do. Or Danny, yes. And then there's also melamine edge tape. Now, melamine edge tape it's okay, but it's brittle. So if you were to edge band a board like this, and you're in a shop situation, you get all your boards edge banded with melamine on it, and you got them all stacked up, and the pile slides.
Oh, I see.
These are all going to get chipped, and the melamine's going to chip, and it's going to show color. So
Oh, that's no
it's
good.
not really good.
That's not
With the PVC, it'll still be damaged, but it'll dent, so
Okay.
you won't even notice that it's damaged.
Okay.
There's pre-glued, which is this material here, and it's got glue, hot melt glue, applied to the backside.
Okay.
And this is done with big automatic machines
Now, why would you want the glue on there ahead of time?
to use with a hot air machine.
I see. So
Now-
there's different kinds of edge banders.
Yeah, there's different kinds of, and
I got
actually
it.
you can even put it on with an iron.
Okay.
Now, you can't put PVC on with an iron, but you could apply wood veneer with a household iron, actually. They make edge banding irons which are narrow and get to the right temperature, but you can actually apply it in a pinch with an iron.
No kidding.
So this is pre-glued, and it's basically the same glue that's in the glue pot of a glue pot machine.
Okay.
And a glue pot machine is an edge bander that has the pellets or cartridge or something in it that melts the glue and applies it to the banding as it's pulling through.
So each time you're going to have to purchase the glue and the banding.
Yeah, you buy your banding.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to get your banding one of two ways. It's either going to be for a price without glue or a little bit more price with glue.
I
You're
see.
going to pay the same amount regardless. Okay?
Once you buy the glue and the
That's correct,
PVC,
exactly.
okay.
Now, there's different kinds of banders, and we're talking about hot melt and glue pot, and it depends on what you really want to do if you need a hot melt or a glue pot bander.
Okay.
A glue pot bander traditionally is far, far more expensive than a hot air bander. It has more workstations on it, so they have trim stations, they have buff stations, they have scrape stations, they can bevel, they can angle, they can do anything, and they're usually 20 feet long and they cost $80,000.
Wow.
But if you want to get into a good glue pot bander, you're probably going to be in the $15,000 to $18,000 range.
Oh, really?
Right. A hot air bander that would do comparable work, okay, not the same, but comparable work, would be in the $7,000 to $8,000 range.
Well, that's quite a bit less.
Oh, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
so from an investment standpoint, it's much less. But a hot air bander does do less for you. So you have to decide what's important to you. One thing that it will not do is it will not apply high pressure laminate.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Not in the banders that we're talking about. Now, Veritex has an EB35 bander, which will apply, and I don't want to confuse all of you, but there's a lot of things to talk about with banding. But it will apply a pre-glued high-pressure laminate piece, a strip. But it can only be applied one at a time, and it's just an applicator. It doesn't trim those. So, in my opinion, the most bang for the buck is the EB25 if you're talking a hot air bander.
Okay.
Now, hot air banders is all we sell. If you want a glue pot bander, I would say talk to the professionals that know glue pot banders, and there's a lot of them out there. Glue pot banders are great machines. Hot air banders are great machines. We happen to sell hot air banders because it's something that we can sell mail order, and I've never not been able to work out a problem over the phone with a reasonably intelligent fabricator on the other end with the machine.
Okay.
Okay? So, getting back to the banding, in the wood veneer...
Explain something real quick.
Right.
High pressure laminate banding, is that, I mean, would that be similar to just taking a piece of Formica and cutting a strip off?
That's the only way you would do it.
That's the way you
yeah,
do it.
You don't
Okay.
purchase it. You actually take strips, sheets, and you cut it on either, like we sell our Marvell slitter, we carry
There
a
you go.
Veritex slitter,
Okay.
different types of slitting machines that
Okay.
will slit it into pieces.
I see.
All right?
I see.
The wood veneer is really cool because it's available pre-glued and pre-finished.
Okay.
And popular right now is purchasing wood veneer plywood, a good plywood that's all pre-finished.
Okay.
So you cut it to size, make your shelves, and then you can apply a pre-finished edge banding.
And once you're done, you got yourself a shelf, or you got yourself an end panel, or whatever you need to use it
That's
for.
right.
Well, that's great.
Now, one thing that you do have to consider is that your edge banding goes on wider than your board and it trims.
I see.
So when it trims, it's taking the finish off the top and bottom edge.
Okay.
But all you have to do is have just a rag with some lacquer on it, clear lacquer, and then just run it along the top and bottom, and that's it. Set it in the pile and it's done.
Wow, that saves a lot of time.
Now, the type of person or the type of shop that would use an edge bander, especially an automatic edge bander, would be probably our biggest customer is a 1 to 5 man shop.
Okay.
One of the things that a lot of guys don't realize when they think about a bander, they just look at the price and they go, oh, it's too expensive. I can put a guy on it. Well, a small shop, the amount of money that you can make in a week is directly proportionate to the amount of material that you can ship out the door in a week.
Absolutely.
Now, you
Yep.
can put on more guys and do more, or you can increase your production by putting a machine on. The machine's there every day. It should work every day.
It doesn't complain.
You know, doesn't complain, what have you.
There you
But
go.
the nice thing about a bander is that anybody can operate it, unless you get into the big banders. The big banders is a whole nother story. You really need a tech on them.
Okay.
But a small hot air bander for a small shop can be run by basically anybody. They're very simplistic. There's very few moving parts, and I think it's a great way to go.
So you think like this machine here, you could train me in probably how long? I mean,
Well, you're saying this machine here, our audience can't see that we have a machine sitting off
Oh, I
stage, but
understand,
we're going to be demonstrating that machine in just a few minutes.
Yep.
But yes, basically anybody can be trained, even you, to use it in just a few minutes.
Okay,
And do a
okay.
good job, okay? Most shops that are going to use a bander, like I said, are 1 to 5 man, but big shops use them as well. I'm talking about a small hot air bander, not
Okay.
the big banders. The big
Okay.
banders are for the big guys, really.
Right.
That are doing a lot of high volume production. Although we do sell banders to people like C-Ray has one. They use it in their sample shop. We sell them to large companies for samples because it's a lot quicker to run a piece on this bander, on a small hot air bander, than it is to fire up a big machine, wait for it to heat up. That's another thing, you've got a heat up time, except for a cartridge machine.
Okay.
You've got a heat up machine on a glue pot machine that has pellets and has a hot pot on it. You're going to wait probably 20, 30 minutes for it to heat up.
So these machines would be maybe good to complement the bigger machines as well.
Yeah, I mean, you
I mean,
could, you
something
could
to have
certainly
on hand
complement it. Yeah, we have a lot of people that come to talk to us at the show that are big facilities. They've got $80,000 banders, but they just want a small bander. If they want to make something quick,
There you
they
go.
don't want to get involved in, firing up that machine, getting it loaded with material and what have you.
Yep.
So we are talking smaller shops, smaller budget. The Veritex machine, in my opinion, is the best bang for the buck. It's probably the least expensive bander on the market, even though the price keeps going up because of the exchange of the euro right now, but it's
Okay.
the least expensive bander on the market that actually works and does what it says it does. They don't work all the time like anything else. They'll misfire once in a while. We've had customers at shows, and there's nothing worse than putting a board through it and it jams, but it happens.
Okay.
But it's like any other tool. You're going to have a problem with it.
I mean, we're talking $7,500, right?
Well, we
Or
don't
roughly
generally
around it?
like to talk price because it dates us.
I understand.
Okay, but
Yep.
right now the unit is running around $7,500.
So, I mean, it's going to be in that range, probably give, but it's going to be in that range. So that's something pretty affordable for smaller shops,
Right.
five-man shop, and
And a lot,
it's
of
gonna
times,
make that money.
a lot of times guys will call me and they'll say, do you have any used banders? And one word of advice that I have, and there'll be people that argue with me till the end that sell these,
Sure.
don't buy a used edge bander.
Yeah, because you don't know what they've done to the machine.
Well, the thing
Really?
about a bander is that it's a very expensive piece of equipment, and most everybody that buys a bander buys the least expensive bander that they can to do the job that they want to do. So let's say they buy one that they need to apply half-inch wood.
Yep.
Okay? They're going to buy one that maxes at half-inch wood because that's the price level they want to be at.
Sure.
Then they're going to
Makes
run
sense.
that thing day in and day out to the maximum capacity, and it's going to be beat by the time it's sold.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you can't get a good deal on a used edge bander or that they're all junk, but in my opinion, it seems to be one of the machines that is probably abused
The most? Okay.
in a small shop or large shop either. But
Oh, it makes sense.
So for the price of it, I mean, unless you're saving a bundle, I would stick with new. Whether you
Yeah.
buy it from us or you buy it from anybody else, buy an edge bander new with a warranty.
I mean, if I had a machine like that sitting around, I'd probably be doing all my mother, father, everybody, my whole family, doing all their closets and everything. And next thing
Yep.
you know it, you're going through bearings and this and that. So
Well, one of the funny things is I have a lot of people that have bought a bander, and they said, I don't know how we ever got along without it. We ban 5 times more material than we used to
wow.
because they find a reason to use the machine.
Oh,
and it's
sure.
like, it's easier. We can
Yeah.
just throw it on the machine.
Throw it on the machine.
So I think we're about ready for break, and after the break, we're going to get our EB25 up here on the show floor,
Cool.
and we're going to show how it works. So
Very
we'll be
good.
back in just a few minutes, I think, if we're ready to go to break. We'll be back. This is called Strike Hold, and this was, it cleans, lubricates, and protects, as it says, but it's an amazing product. I have never seen anything like this. I don't even think it's up on our website, but it will be tomorrow. It does
everything.
It's just amazing. It does everything. It cleans, it lubricates. We had the threads on our planer were rusted, and we had to open it up to 6 inches, which you normally wouldn't do. And we sprayed it down with this stuff, and in 10 minutes it had eaten through all the rust, and it worked just perfectly.
I know, just by way of, I do quite a bit of shooting, and I read that you could use this for guns.
Right.
And I sprayed it down the bore of one of my pistols, and I was amazed. It immediately cleaned the bore out.
Yep. Unlike any other product, it actually goes through the water. Other products like PB Blaster and things like that, if you fill them in a cup of water, they lay on top of the surface and they do nothing. If you actually put this in, this goes through the water and will eat a styrofoam cup like that.
How long does this last, though? I'm curious.
It lasts for 5 months on a non-moving part. So it'll waterproof for 5 months, like an electrical connection or things like that. But if it's something that's moving all the time, you want to just keep spraying it on a regular basis to keep it protected. Now what we're going to do is very simply, we're going to spray.
Oh, you're a chicken is what you, we did this earlier.
Well, all you do is you spray the surface good, okay, like that, and then you spray anything that's going to be.
Let me get Karen's furniture out of the way. That won't take the finish off of her chair, will
We'll
it?
spray the light bulb too, all right? Now you screw the light bulb together, and I'm just going to show you a simple test of this. You're going to see a really neat demonstration of this when the manufacturer comes in. So we have this, all right? Now this is regular water here, just like nothing special about it. And we're actually going to take that and drop it in the water.
Are we going to go offset?
Okay, look at that. Look at that. Can you believe that?
Can you stick your finger in that water?
No.
Go ahead.
But isn't that amazing? All right, so, and then you could just take it apart. Now look at this, watch this. A little bit of water on there. Here we go, ready? Ready?
Thought we were going to have an Alcatraz moment.
Look at that. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, that is absolutely amazing. So imagine like, like let's say your car, if you drive an old clunker or something, and every time it rains, it runs bad. Just spray down the spark plug wires, distributor cap, all of that stuff with this, and it'll protect it for 5 months.
Well, now, big thing,
and
you and I had talked about this. For all of you guys that are field carpenters, framers, guys, all that, if you take and you think of your tools that rust, the chucks on your drill.
Yep. Just spray down everything in your toolbox with this stuff.
Router bit shafts, saw blades.
Yep.
Once again, all your tools, all the contact points, everything that deteriorates from, especially humidity down here in Florida,
Absolutely.
all along the Gulf Coast. But anybody involved in the marine industry, carpenters, farmers.
If the lights go out, folks, you know what happened.
He couldn't leave well enough alone.
I just wonder, when we
don't try this at home, by the way.
Right.
Not unless you have this.
When we when we do this on our show, when we actually get into doing this, I think maybe we'll see if we can put some goldfish in that bowl, and then show that there's no electrical discharge at all. Wouldn't that be cool?
I think it'd be cool if you put your foot in a bucket of water.
Amazing, just amazing. Coming out. I love it. He always says coming out.
Coming out.
Something about that just doesn't sound right. Welcome back, everybody. I want to apologize first for that last segment. I know it was boring, but there's just things that you need to know when you're thinking about buying a bander. Everybody's going to tell you what they want to do to sell you their bander. Yep. And what I try to do, and most of you that have seen me at the shows, is I'll tell you about banders in general. And I always say, whether it's our bander you're buying or somebody else's, this is what you need to check for. That's what's important. Don't look so much at what the salesman's telling you. Try to understand what he's saying about the machine in general. Okay?
Sure.
So anyway, welcome to the world of Veritex. This is the EB25. Until a few years ago, this was their top-of-the-line edge bander. The EB35 is now the top of the line, but in my opinion, this bander is top of the line. It's the most bang for the buck. You have the least amount of problems with it. It requires no air. It's a 220 single phase. You can put it in a dryer outlet. The way the machine is designed, you can put it up on wheels very easily. It's a small footprint. It only takes up 6 feet long, 36 to 40 inches deep.
Okay.
So you can slide it out of the way in your shop. For a small shop, it is absolutely an awesome bander.
This piece here slides out.
Right.
I see.
This slides out.
Okay.
And it locks in place underneath. There's a locking knob here on both sides. And what that's for is so you can handle larger materials running through.
Okay.
It'll do a 4x8 sheet. It'll pull it through by itself. If you're doing an 8-foot sheet, the end of it, you have to support it out at this end. Just hold it and walk it through.
This little machine's going to, a 4x8 sheet will go
Oh,
through
absolutely.
it. Oh,
Not a
wow,
problem
that's
at all.
impressive.
I'm telling you, this is a workhorse. It really, really is. We've been selling this bander for 21 years.
Okay.
Veritex is the only line that we sell through Specialty Tools. It's just a great machine. Let's take a look at the inside, and I'll kind of give you an idea of start to finish what this machine is all about. The material, whether it's high pressure laminate, wood veneer, what have you, is set on this rack.
Okay.
This rack spins.
Okay.
So this is like your, just like a feeder. Comes through here. And then this track here, this is like threading a needle.
Okay.
This is adjustable up and down for the height thickness of your banding. Okay. Then it goes in between these two gears right here. And when you pull this geared roller grabs it and pulls it through. And you can't see it real well, but there's a track in here. And it's shaped like a C.
It is.
And
Okay.
the material slides through like this, so it's captive.
I see.
All right?
I can see this is kind of textured, so that enables it to grab it.
Yeah, this is like a knurled
Okay.
roller pressing against a rubbered roller, so it grabs it tightly and pulls it through.
Yeah, very impressive.
So basically what you do is there's an end cutter that is right in this housing right here.
Okay.
Beyond that is the heater, and this is a heated platen.
Okay.
So what happens is for right now, you stop right there for your first piece.
I see.
Now, one of the advantages to this machine also, it does have a heated platen, and what that does is it just takes and warms up the board just a little bit before it goes into the machine to accept the hot melt that is heated on the glue, okay?
Now I'm surprised, John. I don't see any places to put like a dust collection or anything
No
like
dust
that.
collection is required.
Oh, really? It doesn't make a lot of dust?
No, because what it does is actually, right here, there's a top and a bottom trimmer,
I see.
and there's a relationship between the cutter and these bearings so that they remain like a copy wheel. But they
Okay.
come out, and it's about a 2-inch diameter cutter, and instead of cutting the material like a router and causing dust, it slices it and just makes strips, and the strips go out the machine and down onto the floor.
Oh, very
Okay.
simple.
Now, what would happen is, before we go ahead and try this machine, is your board would be along this straight edge, and then it picks up this knurled roller, and then it's advancing the material right now. And as you can see, the material would be hitting the board right there.
Oh, I see.
And at that point, it picks up on that roller. The pressure from the power feeder holds tight against the board and will just actually pull it through, and it actually moves away from this roller at this point.
And at that point, it's heated up the tape enough to adhere to that board there.
That's correct.
Very
right.
good.
Okay.
Very good.
And now moving forward, and this is as far as I can go in a demonstration, but there's top and bottom cutters here. But let me show you. Let me back this up real quick and just show you what I mean by copy wheels. When you adjust this machine, as long as these bearings go up and down, it's going to cut flush top and bottom.
Okay, I see.
All right, so that's the beauty of this machine, is that you don't have to be, all the adjustments don't have to be perfect. If you dial this in and it's you're 1 or 2 dials off, as long as those are moving, you have no problem.
Okay.
The only time you have to worry about these really being critical is if you're doing wood veneer. If they're too tight, it's going to actually squeeze a line in the wood veneer that you may not notice until you go to finish it. And then you're going to have a line all the way around the door, and it's going to be like, oh crap.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
All right. This trims with an end cutter. I mentioned the end cutter here cuts off the back. It actually cuts it off before it applies it. And it does that with this pressure switch right here. When the board comes on this switch, with the switch down, it's telling the machine, hey, there's a board on me, okay? So as it moves through, it hits this next pressure switch. That turns on the top and bottom trimmer, and then moves through, and then when this one pops off, that cuts the material.
Oh, so
Okay.
it actually trims it off the end there.
That's correct, exactly.
kidding.
Okay?
Wow.
So then this is going to continue on, and then there's a guillotine in here that actually cuts while it's moving, so it always cuts flush in the front.
I see.
All right?
Very
If there's a problem with this machine at all, it's that right there. If your temperature's not right and your glue comes through too hot, you start to drag glue and you get glue on that cutter and it gets jammed up.
Okay.
So you want to watch your temperatures, and while this is heating up, I'll go ahead and talk to you about how to tell what temperature to use on your particular machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and close this right up. Oh, I did want to mention, you can't see it, you'll just have to trust me, but this has a continuous belt power feeder. It's not individual rollers. There's like a gummy belt on the bottom, so it's got 100% contact on the board all the time.
Oh, that's great.
So you've got good grip on it. That's why it can pull a 4x8
Like a 4x8,
sheet through
right.
without any problem at
Right.
all.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and close the machine up.
And this is the motor here
This is the motor for the drive belt.
for the drive belt.
There's a
Turns
small
that back
motor
and
in the
forth.
back here that operates the top and bottom trimmer, and it works on belts, all right? And then there's a heater motor that's built into the machine in the bottom, which is a hot air blower.
Right.
Now, once you've opened the door, the safety on the machine cuts everything off on top and moves it to the bottom. So there's a switch on the bottom. This has to be turned on first before you can activate the machine, and now we can turn the heater on. Okay? This dial right here is called a potentiometer, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And what it does is you turn this up all the way and it heats up really fast, or you can turn it to the temperature you want, and when it gets there, it gets there slower, but it gets there. Generally what you'll do is once you know what banding you're using, what temperature you're going to use, you just mark this with a pencil and either mark it PVC or wood.
Oh, okay.
And try to stay with the same manufacturer because the glues are going to be the same.
That makes sense.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this heat up, and I had mentioned it, there's a way to find out what temperature glue to use. Now, on anybody's bander, whether it's ours or anybody else's, the important thing is the glue temperature. You can see, it's nice and warm
feel the
back there.
heat.
You can keep, you can put a tray back there and keep pizza warm back there.
There you go. There you go. That'd be great.
All right, now what you want to do is you want to cut yourself a half a dozen boards, about 10 by 10, and you want to set your temperature about 450 degrees on this dial right here. All right.
Now that's just to test the machine out?
This is to test what temperature you want to run your glue at.
I see.
Okay.
Yep.
So you'd mark this at 450,
Okay.
455, 460, 465, and so on.
I see.
Now, you start with the coolest temperature and you're going to run a board through. And then go to the next one, dial it up, wait till that temperature comes up and do the next one.
That's going to help show which does the best job as far as bonding and
Right,
and
because what's going
everything
to
of that nature.
happen is when they cool, you're going to start to tear them off one at a time, and they will pull off at the lower temperatures. And you want to get to where the point where you have the most adequate bond and the lowest temperature. You want to run the temperature low, especially if you're running wood veneer. It's easy to run it over temperature and not even know it. And it squeezes out all over, it gets all over the machine, and it's a mess.
So before you cut up your whole job and run, let's say, 200 boards through, doing a little tuning will help you out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about
Okay.
it. So I think we're ready here. We're going to go ahead and run a board through.
Okay.
And I always hold my breath when I'm doing a demo, especially on a machine with moving parts. But if everything is all set here, the theory is the board's going to go right through and it's going to come out all done, but it doesn't have a scraper buff station. And we'll talk about that when it comes out the other end. So all we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're tight against the fence.
Okay.
The power feeder's going to grab it. It picks up the material. That's your top and bottom trimmer coming on. It just end cut it.
Yep.
It just front cut it. And it comes out on this end.
Oh, look at that, John.
No, no kidding. They work great.
Yeah.
All right, now, I had mentioned that this machine does not have a top or bottom end cutter.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry.
What you got there?
No,
You're not
I
going
had
to use
mentioned
that on
that
me, are you?
it doesn't have a scrape station or a buffer.
Yep.
All right, so what happens is you can't see it and you can't feel it, obviously, but there's a little bit of glue buildup right on here that would have normally been taken off.
Okay, yeah, I can
See
feel
that?
it just a little bit, not
Right,
much.
the wood
though.
is flush,
The wood
but the
is
glue
flush,
is there.
yep.
So all I do is take a knife or a scraper of any kind and just do that, and that takes it right off, and you end up with a nice flush cut.
That's a finished product then, right there.
At the show, I use my nails, but then they get all cut up real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a finished product. Now, you'll notice this is flush on both ends.
Sure.
And what that allows you to do, let me turn this on real quick here. You can now take this and run it through the next panel
Oh, yeah, I
without a
see.
problem.
Let's see.
So we're still heated up. Our edge banding has been cut for an end cut, so it's now automatically ready for the next board.
Okay.
You can put one board in after another without a problem, with just leaving a few inches between it, okay? So we're going to take the next board, we're going to run it through, it's picking up there, dragging it, top and bottom trimmer, end cutter.
Wow, take a look at that.
All right,
want
now
the
there's what
camera-
you want to look at right there. Now can we get
camera
a
to zoom
close-up
in up
shot
on
of that?
See how that came out? Real flush there, flush here, flush here. And that's, you know, like you said, you want to scrape that again, but this is a finished product here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You put this for a corner shelf or anything you want to use it for.
So this machine will handle from half-inch thick material to 2-inch thick, 2.5-inch thick material. Again, it does top and bottom trim. It does front and back end trim.
Yep.
It has copy wheels that allow you to not have to dial in the adjustment just perfectly. It's 220 volt, single phase. It's portable. You know, like I said, we've been selling it for 21 years. I don't think we would offer any hot air bander of this style other than Veritex. Now, one thing I do want to show you, a lot of people, and this is something that is very important, when you're at a show, everybody can show this. This is wood veneer, and this material is so forgiving. You can have that temperature wild, and it's still going to apply it. Okay. What you want to look for is, can you put on PVC?
Okay.
And a lot of guys will say, oh yeah, it'll do that, but I don't happen to have any with me.
Okay. Yeah.
I always bring it to the show. It's very rare that I forget it. But what you want to do is you want to see the machine run with PVC. The reason for that is that the temperature and the feed rate is critical, and PVC can be melted very easily.
Oh, it can.
PVC can't be applied with a hot iron because it has to be heated from the glue side.
But it's very similar. You got the pre-glued on the back side.
Right.
And there's your finished product on
That's
there.
correct. And this is available in over 900 colors to match wood veneers or wood grains, the nebulas, solid colors and what have you, the marbles and all that. So this is an odd color here. This happened to have been just a return. So anyway, so we're going to feed it through the same way we did the wood veneer. If we're not changing board size, there's no reason to make any adjustments at all to this machine.
Really? You don't have to make the adjustments?
Nope, you shouldn't have to.
Oh.
Now this material happens to be a little bit wider, so what we're going to do, I'm going to put my glasses on here, and we're going to open the C-track, and we're going to adjust it so that the material will slide in there without getting jammed.
I see. The camera can't see this, but there's a track right here that adjusts up and down.
Up and down, and it holds the material captive. So all we've done is we've done it so that we can move this back.
And that keeps the material from, you know, twisting and turning as it's going through the machine.
Right. Now, just so that, you know, you can see that it works, because I tell you, no matter who's going to show you the machine, make sure that it does PVC. If that's what you want to do.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn our power back on underneath. We can just go ahead and run the same board through without a problem.
All right.
Okay, I think we're all set here. We're going to run it through. It's going to pick up the material. And see, now here's something that happens, and I'm going to show you. There's nothing on it, is there?
No, there's nothing on it.
Okay, all right. Now, this is one thing that I do want to show you, and this does happen, and this is why it's cool to do this live.
Well,
because
part
we
of it
can
is
show.
we didn't have an opportunity to fine-tune it like you would.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that.
Not
I mean,
gonna say that? Okay.
this can happen no matter whether it's fine-tuned or not. Anybody that knows this bander knows that this happens with anybody's bander, but it happens.
Sure.
What happened was the material advanced partway through, and then it didn't come through the roller properly, and it got cut off. But it's back in there right now, and what we have to do is we have to get that piece out of there. And let me see if I can do it without a whole lot of issue. Since it's PVC, it melts very easily in there. And let me see, what can I put behind that very quickly? Maybe this. Here. Okay, here we go. All right, here's what you got. And this happens. I mean, it's as simple as that.
I can see how it melted on the end there.
Yeah. Well, actually, what happened was we had it set too hot.
Okay.
So when the banding came through, rather than coming out straight, it went to the back of the roller. Okay.
Yep.
So again, let's try this one more time.
Okay. And here's your board.
We'll turn our power on. I'm going to turn my temperature down a little bit. And I just want to make sure that that's going to... All right. right, hopefully we'll... Not still too hot. Like I said, make sure that the bander runs PVC. Let me pull it out real quick here. We just have a couple of minutes, so hopefully we're going to be able to do this before we go off the air. And the whole reason that this is doing this is because we're running the machine too hot for the material and it's melting. But there's really no way to cool it down. Although, you know what you could do real quick here?
What's that?
Grab the air right there, and let's cool this off real quick, because that's why it's doing it.
Okay. Well, this would be something easy for somebody to do in the shop too. If they need to cool it down a little bit.
But if they're running this material, they're going to know the temperature they're supposed to be set at.
Yep.
But we were running this at a high temperature for the wood veneer, and we wanted to be running at a cooler temperature for this particular material. So we'll see if we have time to bring it down to a lower temperature. This is live TV. This is what happens. So, all right, we're coming down in temperature though. All right, let's try it one more time, see if we can get it to work. If Ali's watching, I'm sorry. Ali is the importer from Veritex. Great guy, great company, by the way.
He's probably just at home laughing,
We're
John.
going to turn this back on. Yeah, well, you know, he can relate because he's going to say, you know, that's happened at shows before and I know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
Okay, one more time here, real quick. See if we can get it to come out. There we go.
All right, I can see it. We cut it flush on the ends.
Right?
Yep.
So it cut flush right there. It's perfect. Now we're a little bit long here, if you can see that, and the reason is because PVC stretches.
Oh, it does.
Now that adjustment is made very easily by moving this switch back and forth, and there's a little lever underneath which you can't see, and we're not set up with a camera to show you, but this just moves back and forth and it changes the timing on that.
So you can fine tune it if you have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you can see very well that we've got a nice flush cut here. That's a perfect edge band. Nothing wrong with that at all. We're flush here at the corner, and it's a great job.
Yeah, that's impressive, John. It's very impressive. So this was the machine we talked about earlier.
Right.
And
EB25.
Works great for
it's a
small
powerhouse.
shops.
They have an EB10C, which is a small tabletop model that works well. And I can see we are out of time, although Chris hasn't been hammering me yet, but I guess we're just about ready to go off the air. But anyway, if anybody's interested in the demo, it does work. Now that we've set the temperature right, it's available. And for an hour after the show, we're offering them freight free.
Freight free.
Freight free,
Better
absolutely,
take
which is a
advantage
great
of
deal.
that one.
But seriously, folks, this bander is the only bander I would sell. I think it is the best bander for the money. Veritex is a great product. It's manufactured in Spain. All the parts, if you need any, are inventoried in New York.
In New York.
In New York, so you can get them next day if you need them. I wouldn't sell any other machine.
And I tell you, I know the vendor, Ali, out there. Ali's a great guy.
A little hard to understand sometimes. Everybody says, they call me and they go, you know, I call out there and I can't understand him.
Yeah.
But
he really works with you, and he's a great guy to work with. So.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us tonight. Joel, I want to thank you for filling in for Ken. You
You're
did
very
a great
welcome.
job.
Well,
Ken, your job is in jeopardy.
No, it's not. Trust me.
Folks.
Ken's got a lot to say.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm not sure what we're going to be showing, but we'll be here. Thanks for joining us.
Sounds good.
Good night.
Thanks.